All right, we'll start this practice today in a standing pose, Tadasana. We're just going to warm up the joints a little bit. Lift your heels, come to your toes, balancing on the balls of your feet, and then roll back down to your heels, nice and slow. One heel at a time, lift and lower. Pedal your feet out. Then you're going to be pedaling the knees out and the hips as well. So just feeling the joint mobility in your knees, hips, and ankles as you lift one heel at a time and roll that heel down as you lift the other heel. All right, back to standing pose, Tadasana. Take a big inhale and sweep your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Stretch out your chest, the front of your body, and exhale, release your arms back down to your sides. All right, we're going to add those two movements together, combine them. As you inhale, lift your heels, and then begin to reach your arms up to the ceiling, nice and slow to keep your balance. Make sure that you're not sickling your heels in or your feet out. And then exhale, release your heels as you release your arms back down to your sides. I'll try that again. All right, let's do that again. First, just lift your arms. Then once you get your arms stretched, lift your heels and notice if it's easier to, instead of doing the combined movement, take one and then the other. Really lift those heels. Let your arms drift back down as you bend your knees and start to slowly descend into a squat. Squatting down behind your heels, keep your heels lifted. Once your hands get down on the floor, you can hug around the front of your shins. Your chest can come into your thighs, and then you can drop your heels back down to the floor. Start to slowly fold into a forward bend, Uttanasana. Round your spine, bend your knees, and roll back up to stand. Inhale. Samastitihi. Press down through your heels. Reach your arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale to do that, and then as you exhale, release your arms back down. So just a nice little cleansing stretch. Okay, again, inhale, reach your arms. Begin to lift your heels, balancing on all 10 toes. And as you start to exhale, bend your knees. You can release your arms down, start to squat behind your heels with your hips. Take your hands to the floor. Once your hands land, tuck your chin in, drop your head. Then start to press your heels towards the floor as your hips lift towards the ceiling, straightening out your legs. Uttanasana, forward bend. Little bend in the knees. Inhale. This time just big sweep up. Urdhva Hastasana, reach your arms up to the ceiling, starting to move, combine the movements together and move with your breath. Samastitihi, exhale, standing pose. From standing pose. Again, nice big inhale, reach your arms, lift your heels, stretch your heels up as high as you can, push those toes into the floor. As you exhale, bend your knees and start to forward bend then into a squat first, touch down, then the forward bend. So do break down the movements, but start to feel them connect a little bit more. Uttanasana, as you exhale into your forward fold. You can pause here for a moment, shake your head out, bend your left knee, and start to twist your right ribs open, keeping the right leg straight as you can. And then on your exhale, you start to roll back into a forward fold, straightening the left leg, bend the right knee, and roll your left ribs open. Let your gaze go wherever you want to take it. So if it's behind you under your right arm, under your left arm, or if it's out in front or out to the side of the room, just make sure it's adding into that stretch. Let's do that one more time each side. Bend your left knee, start to twist your right ribs open. Big inhale as you open your chest. And then as you exhale, bend your left knee, fold, and then re-straighten the left leg as you bend your right knee. Turn your left ribs open and breathe up into that left side rib. Okay. Exhale, back into a straight leg forward bend, Uttanasana. Let your head bow in, let your body relax, let your torso relax over strong legs. And then from here, let's step back. 1 foot at a time, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. In downward facing dog, feel your arms start to fire up, pressing the mat away. Feel your thigh bones start to fire or press back. Use your thigh muscles to press your thigh bones back. Lift your heels here. Lift your hips. And then bend your knees like you're going to lower them down towards the floor without rounding your spine, without moving your shoulders forward. Then 1 foot at a time, left heel down, straighten the left knee, keep the right knee bent. And we'll hold that for just a moment. And then you're going to switch sides. Bend the left knee next to the right. Then right leg starts to straighten out. Keep the left knee bent. And you might even feel again that slight little rotation open to the right, just like you did in your standing forward twist. Forward bend twist. Both knees bend again together. Start to press the left leg back towards straight. Right knee stays bent. And then we'll switch sides. Bend the left knee next to the right knee. Keep those sit bones lifted and then start to press the right knee back. Left knee stays bent. Open the right side a little bit. It's just a slight opening. All right, both knees bend now. Again, keep your back long. So try not to take your shoulders over your wrists when you do that. And then start to press your legs back towards straight. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Big inhale here. And exhale. Okay, take one more breath here before we start to move. Just feel the balance in your hands, the grounding sensation of downward facing dog, and then start to lift those heels. Take your knees to the floor, and then you'll land in tabletop. Walk your hands back a little closer underneath your shoulders so you don't feel like you're too far away from your shoulders with your hands. Open your chest as you inhale. And then as you exhale, start to sit back, hips to heels, balasana. Take your elbows to the floor and rest your forehead on the ground. Really round your spine as you inhale, lift your elbows and roll up into tabletop pose with that big, massive cat stretch. Then on your inhale, open your chest. Think cat-cow, so extend your spine. With your exhale, take your elbows to the floor and drop your hips back towards your heels. Drop your forehead to the floor and then round your spine. Use your core, lift your elbows. Use your hands to press your hips towards your heels for the massive rounding that you can get there for the big stretch. And then back up into table, inhale, open your chest, the cow stretch here, dip the belly. Elbows down to the floor, and then sit your hips back down towards your heels. Round out your spine, lift your elbows. Again, use your arms like downward facing dog to press your hips back towards your heels for the ultimate rounding and great big stretch in the spine. Inhale, roll back up into tabletop pose. And find a neutral spine. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists. Take your right leg back to straight, right foot on the floor, pedal the right heel down and round out your back. So think again, cat stretch here. Then as you inhale, reopen your chest, extend your spine, lift your right leg up to the ceiling. Exhale, right toes back to the ground. Push with your hands, round your spine, press back a little bit with your hips, but not excessively. So you can feel a stretch in the right calf and the back of your spine. Inhale, take your shoulders forward again over your wrists, lift your right leg, lift your chin, lift your chest, open your heart. Exhale, take your right foot down and stretch back one more time. Nice big round. All right, inhale up into a center neutral tabletop. Now add in your left hand as you lift your right leg and extend your spine. Exhale, left hand down, right foot down. Again, round back. So think about that cat stretch, get the rounding, and think about down dog arms. Inhale, come forward. Again, lift your left hand, lift your right leg, extend, spinal balance. Left hand down. And this time, right knee next to the left knee in tabletop pose. Child's pose with your next exhale, hips to heels. With your next inhale, roll up into table, and we'll get that second side. All right, take your left leg back, stretching back with your left foot. Toes on the floor, press your heel towards the floor, and then start to press with your arms just like you would in downward facing dog. Keep your spine neutral for this one. Then start to exhale and round. So notice the movement that changes that shape. Inhale, shift forward, shoulders over wrists, lift your left leg, feel the glutes engage. Land back down on your floor with your left toes, press back, round your spine, push your arms forward, tuck your chin. Inhale back up into a tabletop shape, shoulders back over the wrist, and then lift your left leg. Use your glutes, use your hamstrings, lift your chin, lift your chest. Back to the floor with your left toes, rounding out, exhale. Really press your left heel back so you can feel that calf stretch. Now add in your right arm as you shift your left shoulder back over your left wrist, lift your left leg and your right arm, inhale. Exhale, set down your right hand and the left toes deep behind you and press back for that cat stretch with the left leg behind you. Inhale, come forward again, pushing into your right knee and left hand. Lift your right hand, lift your left leg. And exhale, set your right hand down. Left knee comes back to the floor next to your right knee. Child's pose. Press back and soften into the pose. Big full breath here. Next inhale, roll back up into tabletop pose. Come all the way down to your thighs and just kind of melt into a cobra shape or like a chaturanga shape. Point your toes back. And then on your inhale, lift your chest a little higher. So going for more of an extended shape in your cobra. Roll back up over your knees. Exhale, child's pose. Keep your arms active here. Keep your elbows up off the floor for this one. Forehead on the ground. Then on your inhale, roll up. It's dramatic. It's slow. And then on your exhale, roll down nice and slow. Think of this as chaturanga. As you roll down, your shoulders open, your chest opens, your chin lifts. And then point those big toes back. Engage your thighs. Inhale from your back, lift your belly button up off the floor, lift your chin up. Exhale, press into your hands, roll up over hands and knees, and going right into child's pose. Keep those arms active, keep your triceps squeezing to the arms, and keep your forearms lifted off the floor. Next inhale, all the way up, tabletop pose. Okay, in tabletop pose, take your right arm behind your left, thread it through for a twist. You can use your left hand wherever you want. I'm going to start to move here in just a moment, so make sure your left hand is in a place where you can move it without falling and losing balance. Okay, so I'm going to start to sit back into a child's pose, and the right hand can kind of start to roll down to the floor, and then I'm going to rock forward again into that tabletop twist. So use your left hand on the floor for balance wherever you need it. Open into the twist, inhale, and then as you exhale, push back towards child's pose. Again, the right hand can kind of start to roll over to the floor, so flipping your palm down. And my head is resting on my arm. Find a place where your head is comfortable. It does have to lift and lower back down in the transition. One more time, inhale forward, back into your tabletop twist and open your ribs. All right, take your left hand back to the floor and unthread your right arm. Come into tabletop, 2 hands, 2 knees, 2 feet. Sit back as you inhale here and open your chest. So it's kind of like child's pose, but on the way we extend, then elbows go down, then your elbows lift and round yourself back up into tabletop pose. Come all the way down to your hips. Again, think of that slow melting into chaturanga. Once you're there, inhale, cobra, open your chest, engage your thighs. Use your next exhale and your arms and your core to push up and back. Balasana, child's pose. From child's pose, we'll get that second side twist in. So come back up into table, and this time your left arm's going to go through behind your right arm and thread over to the right side of the room. Set your left shoulder down. Take your time here to settle in before you start to move. Again, find where your right hand is helping with balance, where it's most useful. And we're going to, when you start that movement, again, you might have to lift your head, and I kind of let it roll back up onto my arm. Maybe even angle your body off to the right a little bit, but sit back towards child's pose, and then inhale forward back onto your left shoulder for that table twist. Again, exhale as you sit back into that child's pose, your left hand can flip down. You really feel that pull on the outer left shoulder, the lats, a really great stretch for the upper back here too. Inhale back into your tabletop twist. Open the right ribs. Take your right hand back to the floor. Push yourself out of the twist up into 2 hands, 2 knees, 2 feet, table. Extend your spine as you press your hips towards your heels. Then your elbows come down to the floor, or your arms can slide forward. Since we're going to move into that chaturanga, I felt like on that first one I had to reposition my hands. Then inhale, roll up into a rounded table. Exhale, rolling down to your hips and belly button. Imagine that as chaturanga. Inhale, lift your chest, lift your chin, open your heart, engage your thighs and point your toes back. Cobra. As you roll up over your knees, use your exhale to guide you right into a toe-tucked child's pose. So tuck your toes under and let your forehead rest. Then you're going to lift your knees and really just kind of smooth. I wouldn't say melting, but you're not melting because you're kind of blossoming into down dog. And the knees down, exhale, squat back. Keep your toes tucked. So think child's pose with toes tucked. Inhale, lift your knees, downward facing dog. Next time you inhale, come forward and take your knees to the floor and sit back into that extended child's pose. So opening your heart, toes tucked under. Round up, plank pose. So round out of that child's pose into plank. Exhale, push back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Again, bend your knees and come forward a little bit with those knees. Lower your knees down under your hips and then let your hips sink back. They're not going to touch your heels probably. Pounce forward, plank pose. Inhale, open your chest. Exhale, hinge your hips up and back, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Okay, again, knees come down right under your hips. Press your hips back towards your heels in that direction, chest or chin towards the floor. And then inhale, roll up into a tabletop pose. I'm going to walk my hands back in a little closer under the shoulders. I'm going to take a modified side plank. Take your left leg back to the floor, roll over to your right knee and your right hand, and then open your left arm up to the ceiling. Take your left arm up overhead, stretch from foot to hand overhead, and then lift your left hand back up, inhale. And then we'll take some more dynamic movements here, just opening that shoulder joint. Circle your left arm back towards the back of the room, towards your left foot, then down in front of your hip, up in front of your right arm, overhead, and then all the way back up to the ceiling. Big stretch. Good. Nice little arm circle there to engage the arm muscles and open that joint. Again, exhale, circle it down, around, overhead. Inhale, back up. Okay, and exhale. Take your left hand back to the floor. Tabletop pose. Reposition your knees. Tuck your toes under, sit back hips to heels. I like to lift my fingertips to the floor here and lift the heels of my hands to give the wrists a break. And if you need more time there, please take more time. I'm going to move on. Plank, inhale. Downward facing dog, exhale. All right, side two. Slowly lower the knees down. Feel the work in your thighs, in your ankles. Inhale forward into your table, reposition your hands as needed. And then I'm going to spin on my left knee. So my right foot comes back. Left hand and left knee are the support of this pose. Right arm up to the ceiling. Modified side plank. Keep your glutes engaged. Stretch your right arm up overhead and press back through your right foot. And then we're going to set those arm circles up. So take the right arm up. And then down by the right hip, in front of your body, in front of passing over your face. Reach your arm overhead. Inhale back up to the ceiling. Then keep the awareness of your right leg is active and the right foot on the floor. Now exhale, circle your right arm back, down in front of you, overhead. And inhale back up to the ceiling. All right, slowly coming back over into tabletop pose, right hand on the floor, and right knee back to the floor next to your left knee. Tuck your toes under, really stretching out your arches too. And again, if you want to lift up to the fingertips, child's pose with toes tucked. Drop your forehead to the floor and stretch out your wrist here. And then I'm going to come back into plank. Before you do, flatten out those palms, lift your knees, plank pose, and exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Just a couple breaths here in downward facing dog. If you need more time, please pause the video and take a few more rounds of breath here. We're going to move on to some core strengthening. So I'm going to start to lower the knees down to the floor and then pull the right knee into the chest and straighten the left leg out into plank. And then back to the floor with your right foot, bend the knees, hover them towards the floor. Now the right knee again comes into your chest, straighten out the left leg. And then hover the knees over the floor. Both feet at the back of your mat. Now the left side. So you're going to pounce forward, right leg straightens, bend the left knee into your chest. And come back into your kneeling, squatting, down dog thing, whatever it is. Again, left side, knee to chest, straighten out your right leg. Think plank pose, but left knee to chest. And then back to your squat, knees hover. Okay. Again, right knee to chest, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then step the foot up to the top of your mat. Okay, start to lower your left knee down, set up for low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Slow inhale, opening your heart, opening your belly up away from your right thigh, and stretch back with your left foot. Exhale, take your hands back down to the floor. And then start to pull your right leg to straight, pushing your hips back over your left knee for a half split. Pull your right toes up to really fire up the back of the hamstrings and the back of the calf muscles. Rebend your right knee, flatten out your right foot. And again, inhale, Anjaneyasana, low lunge. You can tuck the left toes under behind you for better balance, or you can flip the left toes back for more of a front shin stretch. Exhale, hands back to the floor. And inhale, hips move back. Stretch out the right leg, half split, Ardha Hanumanasana. Keep your chest open here. Avoid the tendency to round and collapse. Okay, now lift your left knee with your left toes on the floor. Left hand stays on the floor under your shoulder and twist your right arm and right ribs open. Stretch your right hand towards the back right leg, maybe even touch down, or left leg, and then up overhead with your right arm. And back down to the floor in a lunge. And then again, stretch back into half split. Lower your left knee back down. Hips shift back. Right leg straightens out. Inhale, rebend your right knee. Tuck your left toes again. Lift your left knee up off the ground. Keep your left hand on the floor. Right arm opens up, big stretch up, big twist up, but keep your right sit bone from following. Stretch your right hand back towards the left leg, maybe even touch it, and then up, overhead, and down to the floor. Step back into your kneeling down dog, into your bent knee hovering down dog, or child's pose with the toes tucked, knees on the floor. Then roll forward. You can either use plank here to chaturanga, or you can stick with the kneeling the toe tuck child's pose, melting into that chaturanga. Then cobra, inhale, open your chest. Exhale, tuck those toes. Press your hips back towards your heels. Bend your knees. Arms are straight. Then lift your knees and press back up into downward facing dog. Feeling the pose take shape with different components, different movements. Lower your knees again so they hover. Left knee comes to chest as you pounce that left leg forward. Left foot settles down, right knee settles down. Press through the center of your left heel and then peel yourself up away from your left thigh into low lunge, Anjaneyasana. Big inhale, stretch back with your right toes. Exhale, hands back down on the floor. And then here you're going to shift back into your half split. And the left leg can straighten just as much as you need. It does not have to go all the way straight. Rebend your left knee. Inhale, use both legs. So once you push that weight back into your left foot, don't forget to keep the right glutes fired up. Inhale, reach your arms, low lunge. Exhale, hands back down to the floor. And again, shift back into your half split. So the same thing here. Once you start to press that weight back over your right knee, don't forget to keep the left thigh engaged and the front of the left hip and the core engaged. Half split. And then on your inhale, come into that lunge twist. So start to tuck your right toes, lift your right knee, push into your right hand and your left foot as you open your left arm up. Stretch your left arm back towards the back of your right leg, maybe tap. Inhale, left arm back up overhead. As you circle it forward, extend, 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 and then land down on your left hand. Right knee to the floor. Sit back, Ardha Hanumanasana, half split. Keep your chest open. And again, kind of avoid that tendency or that urge to just kind of collapse. Bend the left knee. Tuck the right toes, lift your right knee, right hand on the floor, open your left arm up to the ceiling, take your twist, keep that left sit bone down, stretch back with your left hand towards the right leg, and then keep the right knee lifted. It likes to dump. Left hand back overhead and down. So the whole time it's moving, it's effort. It's not just gravitational pull. Right knee to the floor, press back into your half split. Come back up into your left knee bend, plant those palms. And then again, we're going to move this right back into that knee bent down dog. So here again, you could pounce forward into your plank pose, take chaturanga with straight legs, or lower your knees to the floor, take a moment in your toe tucked child's pose, and then roll up and over your wrists with your shoulders, lowering down to your thighs, hips, and belly for the modified chaturanga. Keep the big toes pointing back. Inhale, unfurl that cobra, open your chest. And exhale over your knees, tuck your toes, hips back towards your heels, forehead to the floor. Pounce forward into plank here. Exhale, downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Lift those sit bones, engage your thighs. Take a couple cleansing breaths here just to ground and not move for a moment. So dynamic movement, somatic movement is beautiful, but it is important to also find moments of stillness. Take longer if you need. And when you're ready, start to lower your knees back down to the floor and step your right foot back up again to the top of your mat. So going from that bent knee down dog to that leg forward, little pounce. Warrior two, once you get your right foot on the ground. Straighten your right leg as you inhale, and then as you exhale, just grow your arms tall into Trikonasana, triangle pose. Right hand to your right foot or to your shin or to the block. Circle your left arm up overhead, and then bend your right knee and take your left hand and right arm back up into warrior two. Left hand, right hand, stretch out equally away from each other. Straighten your right leg, inhale, pull your arms in, and then exhale, Trikonasana, extend your arms out. So expand your arms out. Expand lengthwise from your torso. Left arm up overhead, big, big stretch. As you take this back down to the floor, hands come to the mat, left knee, right knee bend, back to that kneeling child's pose, down dog squat. And again, your chaturanga of choice. So you can shoot forward right into that plank or knees to the floor, roll down into that chaturanga. Point your toes back. Inhale, lift and lengthen, cobra. And on your exhale, tuck your toes under and hinge your hips back towards your heels. Press those arms into the mat. Press the hands into the mat, strong arms. Just a brief moment in that kneeling child's pose. Pounce forward into plank. Inhale, straighten your legs. Exhale, Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. Big breath here. Bend your knees, and then your left knee is going to squeeze in as you press with your right leg. So pounce that left leg forward, turn your right heel down. Inhale, warrior two, stretch two hands out equally away from the spine. As you straighten your left leg, pull your hands into your heart. And then as you exhale, open your arms and lengthen your torso out over your left leg, Trikonasana. Press back through your right heel. Take your right arm overhead, stretch from right heel to right hand. Bend your left knee, circle your right arm down, touch down for balance if you need, and then roll yourself back up, equally stretching your arms apart, warrior two. Equally stretching your legs apart as well, even though the left knee is bent and the right leg is straight. Straighten your left leg, inhale, exhale, open triangle pose. Press through the right heel, right arm overhead, press through the triceps. As you bend your left knee, take your hands back to the floor, plant your palms, and again, step back with your left leg to meet the right leg and bend your knees as you do. So the right knee bends as you step back. Here you are for your chaturanga setup. Child's pose or the kneeling dog, plank to chaturanga, or roll down your hips, roll down to your thighs, then hips, then belly for your chaturanga. Point your toes back and inhale, open your chest, cobra. Tuck your toes under, roll back over your knees once again into that child's pose. And in fact, here I'm just going to leave my toes pointing back and take a restful child's pose. And take a couple break moments, breath moments here, whatever you want to call them. It's all the same. A break and a breath. But breathe up into your back, soften your hips down between your heels, stretch your arms forward, but try to let them relax a little bit more here. All right, come back up into table, and then I'm going to come into a seated position. So come, forward onto your mat. So when you rock back over your feet, you can sit comfortably on your mat and stretch your legs out in a staff pose. And feel your head up over your hips as you twist to your right. Take your left hand to your right thigh, right hand behind you. It's just a really straightforward, basic twist. Nothing's fancy, but notice the beauty of this movement. The easier, the more simpler, the more amazing. The more you can feel when you don't have to think about the complexity of the posture, the more you can actually focus on the somatic feeling. As you release that side twist, inhale, and then exhale to the second side. Right hand to your left thigh, left hand behind. All right, and then inhale, release that twist. Take a brief fold here. Exhale, Paschimottanasana. So again, try to keep this simple and avoid overthinking the pose and instead focusing on your somatic experience. Inhale, roll back up to a seated position. And we're going to add on to that. Twist again. Left hand to the right thigh. Right hand is behind you. Now start to bend your right knee and take your right foot up and hook your elbow. So you were in a twist first, then you pulled your right foot up. Typically we do it backwards. And also we get stuck in a habitual rut. So notice if it feels different, doing it differently. Inhale, untwist. And then go to the second side. Right hand to the left knee. Twist back with your left hand and then pull your left foot up. And open. So it's not pose completion or pose mastery, it's body opening. Inhale, release your twist, straighten out your left leg, and again, forward bend here. So think of this as a little palate cleanser, just a moment to get it out of the twist and enjoy a brief forward bend. Forward bends are usually really challenging for a lot of people, so staying in them, doing them over and over and not holding them for 10,000 minutes is really nice. All right, take your right foot up into Janu Shirshasana. So the right foot inside your left thigh, the right knee bends out towards the right side of the room, and then twist over your right leg with your left hand hooking, right hand to the floor behind. Keep your left leg active. Untwist, exhale, fold out over that now active left leg. And then inhale, come up to seated. Press back into your left sit bone. Keep stretching your right knee away from your left leg. Keep the left leg active. Again, twist to the right. Left hand hooks your right thigh. Right hand to the floor behind. Lift your chest. Lengthen your back muscles as you twist. Inhale, untwist, and exhale, fold over your left leg. So notice if your right leg is moving, that's fine. Allow it to do that. So we're not fighting our own body. All right, inhale back up to seated. And then again, twist off to the right, left hand to the right knee. This time, start to stretch out over your left leg and reach your right arm overhead. You might be able to catch your left foot. If not, fine. Don't even mess with that. You can stretch it out overhead. Inhale, come back up to seated. Take your right hand behind you and then just lift your left arm over. Think Wild Thing without lifting your hips off the floor. Again, keep it simple. Okay, again, exhale out over your left leg with your left side, opening your right ribs to the ceiling. Stretch your right arm overhead. Keep this revolved. So it's revolved Janu Shirshasana with your torso opening. You can always take your hand to your head. Inhale back up, right hand to the floor behind you, left arm up and over. So a bit of a side bend. Keep pressing out through your left leg. All right, inhale, come back up through seated. And then take your right leg back out next to your left leg in staff pose. And we'll do that again on the second side. So as with any video, as you know, you can pause these videos and take more time with these. So if you want to do that a few more times on that first side, go for it. Do it like 4 or 5 times. All right, let's go to the second side though. Left side, knee bent. Hook your right hand over left knee. Twist open to the left. And then exhale, fold out over your right leg. Janu Shirshasana. Your left foot is inside of your right thigh. And keep pressing the left knee away from you. Keep the mobility open in the hip so you're not fighting your body's natural inclination to move as a result of what you're doing. Twisting, exhale, right hand to left thigh, left hand behind. Open your chest. Press out through your right foot. You might feel your right sit bone lift. That's fine. When you untwist, root back through the right sit bone gently and stretch out over your right leg. Exhale. And inhale back up. Twisting again over the left knee, right hand to left thigh. Open your ribs, open your chest. This time lean out over your right leg with your right side. Stretch your left arm up overhead. And your left ribs opening to the ceiling. Again, you can keep the left arm stretching or cup the back of your head with your hand. Inhale, lift up out of the side bend and take your left hand to the floor and take the opposite side bend. Stretching your right arm up overhead, pressing out through your right foot. Good. And then inhale to lift and exhale to side bend. Left arm up overhead. Or right hand reaches towards your left knee. Rotate your torso open. And again, inhale back up, a left hand to the floor, lean back into your left hand and stretch the right side out. All right, inhale, zip around to face forward, stretch out that left leg next to your right, Dandasana staff pose, and melt out over your legs here, Paschimottanasana, forward bend. Again, keeping it simple, focusing on just how your body feels as a result of the forward bend. Inhale to come back up out of the fold. And then we're going to come down to the floor. So scooch down to the top of your mat and lie down on your back. Feet on the floor, knees bent. And then you can take your arms next to your body, palms on the floor. So we're just going to start with some simple articulations of the spine. So extend your spine, think cat-cow here, tilt your tailbone down, lift your back up, and then roll your back down, lift your tailbone up as you exhale. So again, think a light cat-cow, but we're going to go all the way to bridge. Press into your heels, lift your hips, press the weight into your shoulders. Roll your spine down as you inhale. Exhale here. Inhale, tilt your pelvis down, lift your back up, and press the shoulders into the mat. Exhale, curl your tailbone up to the ceiling, and inhale, open your chest towards your throat, towards your chin. Exhale, roll down slowly. Again, think cat-cow. Tailbone to the floor. And then here, we're going to take the hands next to the hips and press up. Inhale, lift your arms up overhead. So bridge, rolling bridge, arms up, hips up. Exhale, arms down, spine rolls down, upper to lower. And again, press into your heels, lift your hips, lift your hands, roll up to bridge pose, rolling up the spine. Keep pressing into your heels. Keep your hips up here and then swing your arms down, circle them down like snow angels, together behind your back. If you can interlace your fingers, press your shoulders into the floor and keep those hips lifted. Find a place where your heels can stay rooted. Maintain the lift in your hips. Inhale, release your arms above head, but keep your hips up. So again, snow angels. Inhale to lift your arms above head and exhale, arms underneath. Interlace your fingers. Press your elbows down, press your wrists down, press those hips up even higher. Press your chest towards your chin. Release your arms, lower your back, lower your hips, and just press your hands into your thighs for a brief moment here for spinal traction. And then we're going to take this into a more relaxing practice. So just a moment here, right knee to chest, left leg out. So just massaging the hips now, kind of rewarding your body for the hard work it just did. Hug your right knee in and then switch out, hug your left knee in, right leg stretches out. Keep your back lengthened, keep your upper body relaxed and steady on the floor. So feel the grounded, the rooted sensation of the body. Switch out, right knee in, left leg slides out. And then again, switch out, left knee in, right leg slides out. So we're just going to pick up movements as we go and just focus on your breath and the movement. And again, not any specific name or labeling of the poses. Start to lift your left leg to straight. Lift your left foot, and your hands might cup the foot, saddle it, or like a stirrup on your foot. And then bend your left knee again. Exhale. Keep your right leg pressing out. And switch sides. Now pull your right knee in, switch your left leg out, press out through your left foot. Start to press your right leg up to the ceiling. And again, you can cup your foot or the back of your calf, back of your hamstrings. And then as you exhale, rebend your right knee and hug your right knee back into your chest. Okay, switch out. Right leg straightens out, left knee comes in. And again, keep your back on the floor, relaxed but stable and steady and grounded. Stretch your left leg up, straighten out your left leg. And then from here, pull the right knee back into your chest, bend the right knee. And then twist. So go over to the right side of the room with your left leg. So you could keep the left knee bent, or you could straighten it out with your right hand on the outer foot. If your left knee is bent, your right hand on the left knee. Stretch out through your left arm, press down through your right foot, keep that right ankle flexed. Just a couple breaths here, and then come back on to the back of your body, rolling back over to your left ribs, hug your left knee back into your chest. All right, grab your left foot, half happy baby. Keep pressing out through your right leg. Half happy baby can turn into a reclining hand to big toe pose with the left leg out to the side. So you could straighten out your left leg here. And then pull it back into that half happy baby. Squeeze the left knee back into your chest, just reversing. Stretch out your left leg, pull your right knee into your chest. We'll switch sides. After a nice squeeze, stretch your right leg up to the ceiling. Find where you want to hook your hands. Big stretch out here. And then we'll take this into that twist. So you can rebend I guess I'm going to go in the opposite direction. So I guess I'm going to take the happy baby first. It's fine. We get it all done. We just go in opposite order. So half happy baby on your right leg. And then stretch out the right leg if you want. Now we'll take it into the twist. You can hug your right knee back into your chest, or you can roll back over into that twist. Sometimes the body just knows what it wants, and you just got to follow it. Again, here you can keep your right knee bent, or you could have it straight with your left hand on the outer foot. If your right knee is bent, just rest your left hand on your knee, coaxing that right knee up a little higher. All right, roll back over to your back, right ribs to the floor. Squeeze your right knee into your chest. And then switch sides. Left knee into your chest. Stretch out the right leg. Okay, stretch out the left leg now into a split. And then the half happy baby. Bend your left knee. If you want, straighten out the left leg. We'll give it another go here. Draw your left leg back up through center, and then the twist. So either bending the left knee or switching out the hands for the straight leg and taking your left hip on top of your right. Stretch out through your left arm. Keep the right ankle flexed and the right leg fired up. So that helps with balance and also not a lot of moving around so you don't grind your bones on your spine. It's not a good feeling. All right, rebend your left knee. Pull your left knee back into your chest. Give it a hug. And then we'll switch sides. Right knee into your chest, left leg out straight. Give your right leg a straighten here. Split the legs. Press out through your left foot. Use your hands to take your right leg into a nice little open hamstring. Then bend the right knee. Half happy baby. And let your right leg straighten out if you're taking that addition. Over to the twist. So switching hands, left hand to the right knee or foot, bent or straight. And over into your twist. Stretch out through your right arm. Engage your left leg so you've got balance again here. You're not rolling around and grinding the processes on your back. All right, bend your right knee and then roll back over to your back. Hug your right knee back into your chest. Nice little squeeze. And then pull both knees into your chest. Left knee comes in to meet the right. Apanasana. Little rock and roll if it feels good. Move your toes around, move your ankles around, stretch out your feet. Straighten out both legs here for reclining forward bend. So we did this one leg at a time. That's what we've been doing the last few minutes. Now let's do both legs. And then a full happy baby. And then a full wide angle on your back. And stretching out through your feet. You can use your hands to help draw your feet towards the floor. Or you could shelve your elbows on the floor to shelve your legs. You could brace your elbows on the floor to shelve your legs with your hands. All right, pull your legs back in, knees to chest, exhale, squeeze. And then again, straighten out your legs, easy little reclining forward fold, let your hips lift, roll up to your upper back. Happy baby, let your hips melt back down towards the floor as you bend your knees. Reclining wide angle, Supta Konasana. And then take your legs back in. Bend your knees. Feet to the floor. Supta Baddha Konasana. Open your knees. Supine bound angle. Let your arms rest out or above head. Let your knees drop. Inner thighs relax. Slowing down the movement to land in stillness. And use your time here to bring your awareness and guide it to your body. This was a somatic practice, so hopefully you can take some sensory awareness here. Take a body scan. Notice any parts of the body that call out to you. Hips, feet, legs, shoulders, your back, your fingers, your arms, your head, face. And breathe, belly breath, softening areas as you can and as they're willing to be softened. So not forcing and not rushing. And take this time to be present in your body just as it is, without any labels, without any analysis or judgments. Take your knees back up to the ceiling, feet back on the floor. And keep that sense of no judgment and just sensory awareness. Walk your feet farther away from your hips so you can rest in a constructive rest pose with your knees bent. They're not resting against each other and they're not falling open. Let your arms come down a little lower now so that your shoulders relax. Feel the weight of your legs being caught on the floor by the front edges of your heels. Your back relaxes down so you can feel the rooting of your body into the ground without force, without any extra external force. Feel the back of your head relax on the floor and feel your inner groin soften down towards the ground. Feeling that easy release. The psoas isn't working so much. There's no back extension or flexion. You're just neutral here, breathing and sending awareness to all those body parts again. And then let your knees drift over to the left for a nice easy little twist. Inhale, lift your knees back up through center. Your feet really haven't moved. You're just drifting to the right now with your knees. Letting the windshield wiper movement just create a new shape in your body each time you move. Inhale back up through center. And then one more time over to the left. And notice each shape as you move, it's different. And that's what the beauty of this practice is. Every time you move, the shape is different. It's not contrived. Inhale, lift your knees, and exhale to the right. So all the movements are honest and natural according to what your body is telling you. You'll learn so much more about your body if you can just focus on the somatic movements rather than textbook movements. Let your legs slide out now and rest your legs on the floor. Let your arms come in a little bit closer, so even more of a natural rooting and relaxing of your shoulders down to the earth. And take as long as you need here in Shavasana. If you can stay longer, please stay longer and tune me out. But we're just going to rest here for a few moments and then come to a seated position. So rest here in a few moments of silence. All right, start to move your toes, your fingers. You can take feet back to the floor nice and slow and just reawaken the soles of your feet, reintroduce them to the floor, to the grounding feeling. Take as long as you need there. If you want a little bit more time, rest in that constructive rest pose. But as you're ready, you can come to seated. And if you're still resting, again, just kind of tune me out and take your time. And just be on the floor with that awareness of your body, your mind, your breath, and the union, the flow, the harmony between all three. As you end your practice, take a moment, as always, to bow to you, bow to that harmony, bow to that union, and bow to that hard work that all of those parts of your being do every day.